The starship Aurora Dawn floated quietly in orbit above a green planet filled with endless forests and shining rivers. For most of the human crew, life inside the ship was busy and noisy. Voices filled the halls, laughter rose from the mess hall, and footsteps echoed on the long metal floors. But not everyone liked the noise. Ethan Cole, a systems technician, was different from the others. People called him the quiet human. He did his job carefully, fixing machines and checking wires, but he spoke very little. He never joined games in the recreation room, and he never sat with large groups in the dining area. He liked silence. He liked being invisible. To most of the crew, he was just another face. But one evening, something happened that broke his quiet life. Ethan had just finished repairing a power relay near the water recycling system. He carried his tools down the narrow corridor when he noticed someone ahead of him. A small, slim figure walked slowly, favoring one leg. She wore the pale gray uniform of the service staff. Ethan recognized her at once. Lyra, the alien maid who worked in the living quarters. Lyra was not human. Her people had once been enemies of Earth. But after years of war and uneasy peace, some were allowed to live among humans in small roles of service. She was one of them. Her skin had a soft silver blue tone that seemed to glow under the ship's white lights. Her long hair shimmered like threads of light, and her golden eyes usually stayed lowered, avoiding the sharp stares of the human crew. She never spoke unless spoken to. She never argued, never refused. But now Ethan saw her struggling. Her steps were uneven. She limped heavily, trying to keep her balance. He slowed his pace, watching carefully. At first he thought of passing her by. After all, no one paid much attention to the alien staff. Most humans saw them only as workers, shadows that cleaned the floors and carried supplies. But as he looked closer, he noticed something that made him stop. Her right ankle was swollen. The fabric of her uniform boot stretched around it. Each step made her flinch, though she tried hard to hide it. "Are you hurt?" Ethan asked softly. His own voice sounded strange to him. He had spoken so little that day. Lyra froze, turning slightly. Her golden eyes widened in surprise. A human asking about her pain? She bowed her head quickly, hiding her face. "I am fine, sir." "It is nothing," but Ethan shook his head. "That's not nothing." She tried to keep walking, but her body betrayed her. Her ankle gave way and she stumbled. She would have fallen if Ethan hadn't moved quickly. He caught her arm, steadying her. For a moment, she leaned against him. She gasped, shocked that he touched her without disgust. "You can't walk like this," Ethan said. "I must," she whispered. "I have duties. If I fail, I will be punished. Please let me go." But Ethan guided her carefully to the side of the corridor toward a small rest area with a bench. She sat down, her hands trembling. Ethan knelt in front of her, inspecting her ankle. His calm, focused eyes studied the swelling. "It's a sprain," he said quietly. "You twisted it badly. You should not even be standing." Lyra stared down at him. A human kneeling before an alien maid? She had never seen such a thing. Her heart raced. From his tool pouch, Ethan pulled out a small scanner. Normally, he used it to check overheating wires or damaged circuits. But now he adjusted the settings to scan her ankle. The screen lit up, showing torn fibers. "Yes, the tissue is strained," he confirmed. Lyra's voice trembled. Why do you care? Humans do not concern themselves with my kind." Ethan looked at her, his eyes steady and honest. "Because you are part of this ship. You clean, you serve, you bring supplies. Without you, things would be harder for everyone. That matters." Her golden eyes softened. No human had ever spoken to her like that. He opened his emergency kit and pulled out a strip of bandage. With steady hands, he wrapped her ankle carefully, supporting it with gentle pressure. His movements were slow, respectful, almost delicate. Lyra could hardly believe it. To her, it felt like more than just first aid. It felt like someone finally saw her. When he finished, he placed the boot aside. "It will heal faster if you rest. I'll report that your duties are covered for the next 2 shifts. Don't move too much." Her lips trembled. She wanted to thank him, but the words stuck in her throat. Finally, she whispered, "They will laugh at you. If the others see you helping me, they will mock you. They will say you are weak." Ethan gave a rare, faint smile. "Let them. I don't care what they think." For the first time, Lyra felt warmth in her chest. She had served humans for months, bowing her head, staying silent, hiding every pain. And now, this quiet man, this human who barely spoke to anyone, had broken that silence with kindness. Unbeknownst to them, the ship's security cameras had already captured the moment. Ethan kneeling before Lyra, wrapping her injured ankle with his own hands. The footage would soon spread across the crew, whispered about in corridors, replayed in the security office. Some would laugh, some would frown, and some would begin to question what it meant. But in that small corner of the starship, Ethan and Lyra knew nothing of the whispers to come. For now, there was only the quiet human, the alien maid, and the fragile bridge of understanding forming between them. The next morning on the Aurora dawn felt different. Whispers floated through the corridors like invisible threads. Crew members leaned close to one another, their voices low but urgent. The topic was the same everywhere. Ethan Cole, the quiet human, had been seen kneeling before an alien maid. The security feed had caught it clearly. Some officer in the control room had replayed the footage. Then someone else copied it. Soon the entire ship was buzzing. Some people laughed. Some frowned. Some called it weakness. Others stayed silent, unsure what to make of it. But Ethan did not care. He went about his duties as usual, carrying his tools, checking circuits, fixing power links. He avoided the noisy crowds as always. Yet wherever he went, he felt the stares. People nudged each other when he passed, some smirking, others shaking their heads. He ignored them, but deep inside he knew something had changed. Meanwhile, Lyra sat in the medical bay, her ankle supported by a soft brace. She was supposed to rest for 2 days. She had never been ordered to rest before. She was used to working through pain, never stopping. Now lying quietly, she thought about Ethan, his calm voice, his steady hands, his words. "You're part of this ship. That matters," her golden eyes filled with emotion. For the first time since she had left her homeworld, she felt seen. But not everyone was happy. At lunch, a group of crew members gathered in the mess hall. Their voices carried across the room. "Did you see it?" one man sneered. "Cole kneeling in front of that alien maid like she's royalty." Another laughed. "Maybe he's in love. Imagine that, a human falling for a servant." A woman shook her head sharply. "It's dangerous. We keep them here because of the treaty, but don't forget, they were our enemies. He's making all of us look weak." The group murmured in agreement. Some laughed again, but others remained uneasy. One officer, Commander Hale, sat in the corner listening. He was strict, proud, and always suspicious of the aliens. He narrowed his eyes. To him, Ethan's act wasn't just kindness, it was betrayal. That afternoon, Ethan received an unexpected call. "Report to the captain's office immediately." He sighed, cleaned his hands, and made his way there. Inside, Captain Reeves sat at his desk, his sharp eyes fixed on a screen showing the paused image of Ethan kneeling before Lyra. "Cole," the captain said firmly, "do you understand what this looks like?" Ethan stood calmly. "I helped someone who was hurt." The captain leaned back, folding his arms. "Yes, but the crew sees more than that. They see a human lowering himself before an alien. Some are already questioning your loyalty. I need to know where you stand." Ethan met his gaze. "I stand with what's right. She was injured. I couldn't just walk away." The captain studied him for a long moment, then sighed. "You're not wrong, Cole, but you've caused waves. Be prepared. People will test you now." Ethan nodded and left quietly. He was not afraid. He had lived with silence and isolation before. He could live with whispers, too. That evening, as he walked back to his quarters, he found someone waiting outside his door. It was Lyra. She stood awkwardly, still limping slightly, but her golden eyes shone with determination. "Why are you here?" Ethan asked softly. "I came to thank you," she said, her voice trembling but firm. "No one has ever done what you did. No one has ever cared if I was in pain. When you spoke, when you touched my ankle, I felt human." Ethan blinked, surprised by her words. He looked away, unsure how to respond, but Lyra stepped closer. "They are whispering about you," she continued. "They say you are weak. They say you are foolish, but to me you are strong. Stronger than all of them." Ethan finally looked into her eyes. For the first time, he saw not just an alien maid, but a person full of courage and hidden fire. He gave a small nod. "Then that is enough." Before she could reply, a sharp voice echoed down the hall. "Well, well, the hero of the aliens." It was Commander Hale, flanked by 2 security officers. He smirked, stepping closer. "I knew you were odd, Cole, always hiding in silence. But this helping one of them? Do you want to shame your own people?" Ethan stood still, his hands at his sides. "I helped someone who was injured. Nothing more." Hale's eyes hardened. "You don't understand. It starts with small kindness. Then one day they use it against us. They take advantage. And weak humans like you will hand them the ship. Ethan's jaw tightened, but he said nothing. Lyra, however, stepped forward despite her limp. Her golden eyes flashed. He is not weak. He has more honor than you, Commander. The corridor fell silent. No alien servant had ever spoken back to a human officer. Hale's face turned red with anger. Watch your tongue, he growled, but Ethan raised a hand calmly. Enough. She doesn't answer to you, Hale, and neither do I. The commander stared at him, fury burning in his eyes. Then he gave a cold smile. We'll see how long you last, Cole. Let's see how loyal the crew stays when they know you care more about an alien than your own people. With that, he turned and left, his boots echoing harshly against the floor. Lyra trembled, but Ethan's calm presence steadied her. He looked at her and said quietly, Don't let his words scare you. People like him fear change, that's all. That night, Ethan sat alone in his quarters, staring at the ceiling. He had never wanted to be noticed. He had never wanted to be at the center of attention. Yet now the ship's balance had shifted because of one simple act. He had not planned it, but it had happened. And far away in her small servant's quarters, Lyra whispered to herself, This human, he is different. He is not afraid to see me. What neither of them knew was that trouble was brewing. Commander Hale had already filed a report to the higher council, accusing Ethan of dangerous sympathy toward aliens. The whispers would soon grow into something louder, something that would test not only Ethan's quiet strength but also the fragile peace between humans and Lyra's kind. The Aurora Dawn drifted through space like a silver arrow. To the crew it was home, but now the air inside felt heavy. Whispers about Ethan Cole had grown into arguments. Some called him noble, others foolish. Some feared his act of kindness would weaken human pride. But the truth arrived faster than anyone expected. 3 days later, the ship's alarm rang out. Red lights flashed across the corridors. A voice shouted through the speakers, Unidentified vessel approaching. All stations prepare for contact. Ethan rushed to the nearest viewing port. A dark, jagged ship appeared on the edge of the stars. It was not human. It was one of Lyra's people, the Kalari. Though a treaty had ended the war years ago, many Kalari ships still roamed as raiders, ignoring peace. Fear rippled through the crew. The Kalari were known for being fierce, merciless. Captain Reeves gathered his officers in the command deck. They are hailing us, the communications officer said. The screen lit up, showing a tall Kalari warrior with sharp features and golden eyes much like Lyra's. His voice rumbled deep. Humans, you are carrying one of ours. Return her or prepare to be destroyed. Everyone in the command deck froze. Lyra. They were demanding her. The captain frowned. She is part of this crew. She serves here by treaty. The warrior sneered. She is Kalari. She belongs to us. Refuse and we will show no mercy. Panic broke out among the officers. Some whispered that handing her over was the only way to keep the ship safe. Others argued it would break human honor. Ethan stood at the back of the room, silent. Then he stepped forward. If we give her up, we prove their words, that humans only use and discard. We will lose more than her. We will lose respect. Commander Hale snapped. You have no right to speak here, Cole. This is bigger than you and your alien maid. But the captain raised his hand, silencing the room. His eyes narrowed at Ethan. What do you suggest? Ethan took a breath. Talk to her. Let her choose. She has a voice even if most refuse to hear it. The room went quiet. No one had considered asking Lyra herself. Moments later, she was brought to the command deck. Her golden eyes widened when she saw the enemy ship on the screen. Fear flickered in her face, but she stood tall. The Kalari warrior leaned closer on the screen. Lyra, you were taken from us. Come now. You do not belong with these humans. Everyone waited for her answer. Her lips trembled, but then she spoke clearly. No, I do not belong to you. I belong to myself. And I choose to stay here. The Kalari's face twisted with anger. You betray your own blood? She lifted her chin. No, I honor it. I serve here because I wish to. And I will not return, the crew gasped. A servant had just defied her own kind. The Kalari warrior roared. Then we will tear this ship apart. At once weapons lit up on the alien vessel. The Aurora Dawn shook as the first blast struck its shields. The crew scrambled into action, stations filling with urgent voices. Ethan rushed to engineering, working quickly to stabilize the power grid. Sparks flew as another hit shook the ship. Lyra followed him, refusing to hide. "Why are you here?" Ethan shouted over the alarms. "Because if I leave, they win," she answered, her golden eyes blazing. The battle raged. The Aurora Dawn fired back, but the Kylari ship was stronger. Shields weakened, systems flickered. Commander Hale barked orders, his face tight with fear. Then Ethan had an idea. He remembered the Kylari ship's design. During the war, he had studied their systems. They were powerful, but their weapons overheated quickly if forced to fire too fast. He turned to the captain through the comm. "Push them. Force rapid fire. Their cannons will overload." The captain hesitated, then gave the order. The ship dodged and returned fire, taunting the enemy into firing more rapidly. Soon, smoke rose from the Kylari ship. Their weapons sputtered, systems overheating. Ethan worked furiously in engineering, rerouting power to keep shields alive. His fingers flew across the controls, sweat on his brow. Lyra stood beside him, carrying tools, handing him what he needed without hesitation. They worked as one, human and alien together. Finally, the Kylari ship went silent, its weapons shutting down. The enemy warrior appeared once more on the screen, his face burning with rage. "This is not the end," he growled. "But today you have survived." The screen cut off and the raider limped away into the stars. The crew erupted in cheers of relief. The ship was safe, but more than that, something deeper had changed. Everyone had seen it. Ethan's quick thinking had saved them. Lyra's courage had stood against her own people. Together they had protected the Aurora Dawn. In the mess hall later, whispers filled the air again, but now they carried a different tone. "Cole, he saved us." And that Maid, she stood against her own kind. Maybe we judged them too quickly. Commander Hale still scowled, refusing to admit defeat. But even he could not silence the new respect in the crew's voices. That evening, Ethan sat quietly at his workbench repairing a broken tool. The door opened and Lyra stepped inside. She limped less now, her ankle stronger. She watched him for a moment, then said softly, "They look at you differently now." Ethan shrugged. "It doesn't matter," but Lyra smiled gently. "It does, because you showed them what strength truly is. Not loud voices, not pride, but quiet courage." Ethan looked up at her, meeting her golden eyes. He gave a small nod. For once, he did not feel so invisible. And somewhere deep in the silence of the ship, the seeds of something greater had been planted. A quiet human and an alien maid had proven that kindness could stand against fear, and that even in the cold of space, humanity's greatest power was not its weapons, but its heart.